not just his sympathy, but his emotions when he heard what happened while he was overseas in Iraq. He told us it was very troubling, told us how it was really hard for him because he has daughters and granddaughters, and how they would discuss this with him. That meant a lot to us to hear about their personal situations, their lives, how it impacted not just the military, but like you and I, everyone at home. Everyone has a family, and no one should ever lose their daughter, especially to a heinous crime. And today, after Vanessa, I'll tell you why that's really important. Because ownership is the first way to cure something, to resolve something, to fix something. When you own it is when you can change it. When you identify the problem. They could have easily said, we don't want this out there. We don't want to be known for this blood stain. But rather it's the opposite. They didn't try to sweep it on the rug. They put it right visibly, right in front of the gate of the base. So every day they have to remember Vanessa. They have to remember what happened here. So it never happens again. That is so important. And it was very symbolic. They explained to us how they are putting this gate outside, and if you walk a straight line, you walk into Vanessa's barracks. How amazing. And that's important. It's important that we walk the straight line. We never let this happen again. I understand that now they are helping with the soldiers, giving them an opportunity to speak, having the NCOs meet their soldiers and their families. You know, when Vanessa went missing, the Guillens had no one to call. They didn't know anyone there. You know, Myra's calling friends to find out the phone number to the base. That's how much she knew. That's how dark it was at one time, but that dark has now turned into light. They've identified the problems. We still haven't gotten the reports, but we don't need a report to change. We need legislation to change. We want our legislation passed. We plea that Speaker Pelosi puts this legislation on the floor immediately. No more waiting. No more blood. No more deaths. No more sexual harassment, no more sexual assault. It's time to stop this epidemic that exists in the military. And we beg that everyone contact their congressman and senator and tell them, support this bill. Get it on the House floor to get it voted on. We can't pass a bill without it getting on the floor to be voted on. I also want to explain to you how important it is that these 3 investigations are occurring. They're almost all at the end of their investigation. Today I spoke to General Murray's senior counsel, and he told me that they've interviewed about 180 people so far. 180. It's a lot of people to talk to. It's a lot of investigating. But we won't stop until every stone is unturned, until we figure out what happened, and more importantly, that it never happens again. You could tell today when we walked in, nobody had their nose up in air. Nobody used their pins and their stars and their stripes and their badges and their coins to intimidate this family, but rather it was the opposite. We were listening about their family. We were listening about their daughters. General Richardson has a daughter who's at Georgetown Law, 2nd year. I'm very proud to identify with her. As a Georgetown Law graduate myself, I'm impressed because he talks about her. He's proud of her. Just like Roger and Gloria Guillen are proud of their daughter. This is how our military should be, and I'm starting to see it take place. We're going to continue striving to make changes, but we're working together. We are working together because you have to forgive eventually. You don't have to forget, but you have to forgive. and working together is the best way. As Gloria Guillen told the generals today, you know, she prays to God and talking to God, and God coming into our homes, into our lives, into our hearts. And what does God say? God says forgive, right? We have to forgive, and we have to work together, because all these soldiers, they deserve a voice. They deserve protections. And we're so proud of the hard work that we put into this to see it actually coming to fruition. To know that there are so many soldiers that are looking over and saying, this is happening, it's changing, it's working. And we're proud of our efforts, and more importantly, we're proud of this command. We're proud that they have realized the problem and said this won't happen again. And we pray what happened to Vanessa never happens again. But we're going to all work as a team to make sure that this never happens again. And it's not going to happen again when we get our legislation passed. So we have a goal, and we ask every person to continue working with us. Don't give up. You can't give up until our legislation's passed, because otherwise it's just another death, it's just another soldier. And like I always say, one is too many. You want to speak? Myra? You want to say something short? Yeah.
I want to thank everyone that came out today. I know it's been a long, more than half a year now, and this is something that, you know, we've still kept the fight up regardless of, you know, there hasn't been much going on. The investigation's pretty quiet, but hopefully soon we do find out more details as to what happened on the 22nd of April. And this memorial that's going to be done in order to honor Vanessa means a lot to us. It means that they listened. This new command did listen to us, and they do question us detail by detail as to what we expect or what we need, or, you know, what just they paid attention, and it means a lot compared to the first couple months that we had to struggle so much to just find her. And we hope it doesn't take too long now, and I want to thank all of them, and you know, we're going to keep pushing. Thank you.
Buenas noches a todos. Les agradezco por estar aquí, por acompañarnos y no dejarnos solas. Vinimos aquí porque nos mandaban a llamar los generales para decirnos qué es lo que piensan hacer en memoria de la niña, y le piensan construir un monumento. Aquí están las hojas de las que me entregaron. Yo les dije que estaba muy bonito lo que pensaban hacer, pero aparte de eso, yo lo que quiero es justicia. Justicia por mi Vanessa, justicia de que todo ese comando que estuvo manejando a mi hija sea encarcelado. Yo se lo digo y se lo digo a quien sea. Van a ser un monumento muy bonito, bravo, pero yo quiero justicia por esa niña, y que se llegue a la verdad y entreguen los culpables, porque los culpables están adentro, y se me hace que unos ya salieron. Que se haga un cambio, verdaderamente un cambio a favor de los jóvenes. Un cambio limpio, con transparencia, que ya no haga tanta maldad ni tanto suicidio, porque hay mucho suicidio. Mi hija a mí me lo decía. Yo te hablé con ellos, le dije que haga un cambio verdaderamente. Hasta ahora que mi hija murió, se van a hacer los cambios. Tuvo que morir un ser hermoso y inocente que fue mi hija, para que se supiera todo lo que pasó y todo lo que está pasando en las fuerzas militares, y principalmente en esa base. Yo hablé con ellos y les dije, yo quiero la verdad, yo quiero los asesinos, yo quiero todo el comando tras las rejas, y quiero que me digan la verdad. Y quiero saber quién mató a Robinson, dónde está ese video, porque no creo que se suicidó. Si la policía de Guillen lo mató, tiene que ser responsable por lo que lo encubrió. Porque ese miserable no se mató él, a él lo asesinaron. Quiero ver ese video, porque si no se muestra ese video, entonces ahora sí es el ejército es un corrupto de los peores. Tienen que dar a la luz ese video, a conocer la familia y a conocer la nación, el pueblo. Todo el mundo tiene que ver ese video, a ver qué fue lo que pasó ahí. ¿Por qué que se suicidó o si lo asesinaron? Que se haga justicia a nombre de mi hija y que se pase ese bill a nombre de mi hija Vanessa Guillen. Porque tuvo que morir ese ser inocente para que pudiera salir toda la porquería que existe. Se pasará ese bill, ¿para qué? Para que puedan salvarse todos los millones de soldados que están escritos y futuros escribirse. Porque si no se pasa esa ley y sigue todo igual, no va a haber quien se escriba ya, como se ha dicho siempre, ya ni se están escribiendo. Eso que tengan conciencia los señores generales, el mismo presidente que no hizo nada, el señor Donald Trump nunca hizo nada, mejor ya perdió y no hizo nada. Ni nos apoyó, dijo pura mentira, las palabras se las llevó el viento. Los hechos son los que hablan. Yo necesito un hombre de palabra, que tenga los pantalones donde los tiene, como el secretario de Defensa, tampoco hizo nada. Yo pedí su sustitución, que lo sustituyeran. ¿Qué está haciendo ahí? ¿Ganando dinero de Oquis? ¿No hacer nada? ¿No hacer un movimiento de nada? Yo quiero que todo se llegue a la verdad y no vamos a parar hasta encontrar la verdad. Con eso no se me regresa mi niña, ni se me regresará nunca mi niña. Porque mi niña es el amor de mi vida y se llevaron la mitad de mi vida a arrancármela de mí. Por eso no hemos parado, aunque esté enferma. Sea como sea, yo me paro, yo lucho, junto con la abogada y con mi familia y con la gente que me sigue apoyando. Que se lo agradezco de todo corazón a toda la gente que me está apoyando. Esto no para. Fue un crimen atroz, horroroso, a una niña, no es una cucaracha, a una niña inocente. Se le cortó su vida cruelmente por esos miserables del comando. Hubo un complot y van a pagar. Todos van a pagar. Todos, en el nombre de Dios y María Santísima, que todos van a pagar. Y ese bill va a pasar para proteger todos esos soldados que están sufriendo en las sombras, ocultándose, llorando por acoso, hostigamiento. No más, ni uno más, por el amor de Dios. No quiero una madre que sufra lo que estoy sufriendo yo. Yo estoy sufriendo como no se imaginan, día y noche sin mi niña. De no verla y no tenerla. Y esto sigue porque la gente está apoyando, está suplicando que se sepa la verdad. Como yo que soy su madre, yo suplico que se llegue a la verdad. Y que ese bill sea pasado. Y que todo esto cambie. Cambie a mejor para todos. Ya no haga tanta maldad como la que existe en el ejército. Pobre de mi niña, una niña nomás en toda esta base, la asesinaron a una niña, a una joven inocente, le arrancaron su vida cruelmente. Nomás de pensar que cómo sufrió esa niña, yo me caigo de dolor, de cómo sufrió ese ser inocente, la torturaron. Porque mi hija miró y supo algo que no debe haber sabido allí en esa base y miró y supo. Eso téngalo por seguro. Aparte de ser acosada, la niña miró algo muy malo allí. Y me la callaron y esto se va a saber. Créanmelo, que ustedes verán los rostros de estos miserables tras las rejas y tras las televisoras. La señora tenía razón, mira los miserables. Porque Dios es grande, misericordioso y hará justicia. Yo les agradezco de todo corazón por estar aquí, que me sigan apoyando. Dios los bendiga y seguiremos en esta lucha de justicia por mi pedacito de cielo, Vanessa, que no vamos a parar hasta no tener los verdaderos asesinos y saber lo que pasó. Muchas gracias, Dios los bendiga.
I just want to remind everyone, tomorrow is Veterans Day. And reach out to someone in the military or a veteran and thank them for their service. We wouldn't all be here but for them. You know, we have Tay over here, by the way, Tay Hightower. He's also right now serving, and he was a good friend of Vanessa's. And, you know, he's showing us pictures today of Vanessa and things like that. This is a small community as big as it is. Everybody knows something about everyone. And we got to thank those who serve, thank those who fight. And this mission is part of improving our military, bettering it. Nobody opposes improvement or progress. We all want that. We all deserve that. They all deserve that. Thank you. Questions?
Is it possible that we can get a copy of the artist rendition?
The,
Being spoken about it?
what is it? Are you talking about the gate?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, the pictures of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Yes.
Gate, like the main street gate?
I can show. Can I have it?
No.
Let me see. Oh. So this is what we were given, and as you see how that says Bernie Beck? It's going to say Vanessa Guillen.
Where we held the protest on Rancier and Fort Hood.
On Rancier and Fort Hood, where the Bernie.
Where we held
Okay, so
the protest.
where the protests happened all the time, that's where it's going to be. And actually, because that memorializes, that is where the protests were, and this is where it all began. So it's going to be right across the street from where the protests were, across from that parking lot. They're going to create a parking lot, and they're going to create it where you don't have to check into visitor parking like you have to do and give your ID. It's going to be available for not just the guys and girls on the base, but also visitors, non-active duty soldiers, because many people don't have access to a base. They want everyone to be able to go and see it and visit it and, pay respect to it. So they're actually building this all out, creating it, because right now it's just a plot of land, a lot of dirt, and mosquitoes. I was there. And it says Vanessa Guillen Gate, and it's going to have a little dedication information about her, and that's where they're going to talk about Vanessa right here, and here is going to be the gate, and that's what it's going to look like on the other side. It's beautiful. Sure. So, I have eyes and ears everywhere. I do that because I need to serve my clients correctly and diligently. And I want to make sure if someone's telling me something, it's accurate. And I have asked around what's going on, how have they changed, what have they done. And everything that the command and the generals have told me they've done, I've confirmed. So, for example, Fridays, it's become more casual. They're not working so much. It's become more of a meet person, making it more humanitarian here. People are getting to meet each other, talk to each other, get to know each other's families. That was really one of the most important aspects of how things went so wrong in this case. You can't just look at one isolated incident and just think, oh, well, she got murdered and no one could have fixed that. Remember, there's always insult to injury. And the insult was the way that the command, that toxic command, handled, or I should say mishandled, this case. So it was alcohol in the wound when the family didn't get answers, when the family was mistreated, when they were left in the dark. We had a very long discussion about that, about how you need to keep families involved. If this is your daughter or your son, hell, you'd want that information immediately, like yesterday. So they understand why you can't continue doing what you do and say, well, this is how we've always done it. Laws have changed. Gays used to not be allowed to get married. Blacks used to be in the back of the bus. They said separate was equal, and then they changed it and said separate's not equal. Guess what? What happened in this command? It was unacceptable when they used to say to us, this is how it's always been. Well, it doesn't matter. It's got to change. And change is happening. And they're respecting the climate. They're respecting the soldiers. And when someone does have an issue, they have a phone number to call. They have this issue to take up. We aren't saying that it's perfect. Nothing is perfect. But it's moving towards a better situation where they're not just soldiers. They're people. They're human beings. And that's what our soldiers deserve. They deserve a voice. They deserve protections. They deserve respect. And we see the movement going towards that fraction. That's how they're doing it now.
What are next steps for you and the family? Is it lobbying for the bill, or what is next for you guys?
Well, I'm not lobbying. I'm not a lobbyist. I'm an attorney. Advocating. We are advocating rights for our soldiers. You know, Vanessa may be my client. Her family may be my client. But as a human being, I'm the voice for so many soldiers because it's not going to bring Vanessa back. This bill won't. Believe me, if I could create a bill that would bring Vanessa back, I'd write it today. This is a bill that will help other female and male soldiers that are being harassed and assaulted. This bill will help others. So to advocate is really part of my mission. I try as hard as I can to give people the rights that they deserve. Human rights, dignity, respect. And it's become my calling to help our military, our soldiers, our veterans to be respected, to deserve rights that they never had before. And I'm not pointing fingers. It's just this is a system, and a system is flawed. Many could say the system's broken, but it's fixable. And this legislation needs to be passed. You know, again, I beg, I plea, we all do, that Nancy Pelosi puts our bill on the House floor and has it voted on ASAP, because these soldiers are relying on us. They're depending on us. They need us to do this. They can't do it themselves. They're busy serving our country. They're being deployed. They're going overseas where it's not as safe as it is here. So this is our job right now. While we're in a very comfortable state, while they're fighting for our rights and our freedoms, we got to fight for their protections.
You have the symbolic gate that's going up. You also have legislation that you're advocating for. What else does justice look like here on Fort Hood for Vanessa Guillen?
That's a great question. Justice has at least 3 parts here. That legislation is the first and foremost thing because, again, awareness doesn't change anything. It's legislation that does. Number 2, having soldiers be safer. Know that they have a voice. They have protections. They're not alone. They're not going to re-victimize a victim. And our other goal would be to find out what happened and to take away, remove, perhaps, not just interview, but I want to say prosecute those who were involved with her murder. It still troubles me that we don't know the whole story. And I hope that these interviews, these reports, these investigations give us some closure. Let us know, really, how did he do this all in 43 minutes? Who was his accomplice? Who knew about this? What do they know? You know, people just don't get killed in mere daylight, and nobody knows when you're on a base. Not in the forest, on a base. Traffic, people walking back and forth, people, daylight. I mean, it's still, to me, it's important to get that information because there could be somebody else that's just as criminal on that base. And we need to know. And if it's nobody, if Aaron Robinson was just brilliant, he was Mr. Clean, well then we need to know that too. So I was asked that question, and you know, the U.S. Attorney's Office is doing their best to prosecute this case, and I give them a lot of support, respect. This is not an easy case. You know, look how many, there's 4 investigations right now going on. I mean, this is not an easy case. They need to do their due diligence, and that so requires a delay, an extension in the hearing. When I spoke to the U.S. Attorney, he said that they had a lot of compliance to do with the discovery, and I know what discovery is like. It's gruesome. And so their need to make sure that they're getting all the documents that they need, all the subpoenas that they issued, all the interviews that they've done, they need that time to do it. Nobody wants a rush job. Look, we want to rush to justice, but you can't rush to justice if you miss some steps. It's going to be an injustice. So we look forward to this trial being done correctly, accurately, but efficiently. And we trust that the U.S. Attorney's Office will do this. I understand January 5th is when it was moved to, but I might be wrong. You know, I have to look into it. I haven't spoken to Mark in a few weeks, so I'll find out. Anyone else? Well, thank you so much for coming this evening, and thank you for waiting. And we could look forward to continue bringing you some good news, better news, and hopefully some legislation dates when we find them out. Feel free to call and ask, when is the bill going to go on the floor? We all want to know. We'll be up there cheering them on. Thank you.
Hey, I want to say thanks everyone